I'm EZRAH here to walk you through today's burning issues and the biggest stories. Welcome to Manila Times. The Philippine government and the United States have identified additional military sites for the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, in the country. The locations of these sites will be strategically located in Palawan and Cagayan. President Marcos is hoping that local government leaders will come around to support the new EDCA sites, which he said will be scattered across the country. Here to share his insights is Cagayan Governor Manuel Mamba. Good afternoon, Governor. Welcome to Manila Times. Governor, regarding your position, you previously opposed the assembly of EDCA sites in your region, but then later on, Defense Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. assured your position on this. So what made you change your mind?
I haven't changed my mind. I've talked with them in the presence of General Lorenzo and General Damian, former PNP General and a former Army General, when we talked. And I said my position very clearly that it is the President's call. And since he said that the President has decided and will be announcing soon the two sites in Cagayan, I said, well, I cannot do anything about that, but I'll just go on opposing the same. My position has not changed, that I do not want any foreign forces in my province. I do not want EDCA sites or any EDCA site in my province. So that's very clear. And I told him that I will go on. That's why I was so surprised when I heard over the news that I have dropped my opposition. That's why I went out to say the least, that I haven't. I continue opposing the same because I feel that is inimical to the interests of the Cagayanos and our province.
Sir, to be clear, you still oppose the idea of the assembly of an EDCA site on your region. So you still oppose that, but then whatever the president will decide on, you're willing to comply, despite your opposition. Is that correct?
Well, it would not be me implementing the same. It will be them implementing the same. But I'll just go on talking and opposing the same. I feel that I'm helpless, but I feel that I have to say what has to be said. As the father of the province, as one who loves the province so much, and as one who see a lot of hope and a lot of promise as far as having interchanges later on with our neighbors. This has started with the Balikatan. They wanted a Balikatan in my province before the pandemic, and so they came over with reserve officers that there should be interoperability as far as humanitarian missions and relief and operations. And so I was also there welcoming even the American reserve officers. Then after the pandemic has gone down, just last year again, during the Duterte administration, I was asked for my imprimatur of another Balikatan, this time involving the active members of the armed forces of both nations. And so they showed me the design, and there was these live fire exercises. And I learned that live fire exercises would involve testing of missiles and cannons and everything. I said, this is not acceptable because it might trigger some bad reaction from my neighbors. Because I know for a fact that Taiwan is a powder keg that could burst anytime. And so I said, I could not accept this.
Yes,
All types of exercises except the live fire. So we came up with a PPOC and an RPOC resolution opposing that part of the Balikatan. And then came the EDCA. I only learned about this, no? And so here I am, no, deciding for my people. I have not consulted my people, my constituency, basically because there was no formal announcement and formal notification to me, no? And I was interviewed by a lot of media people and asking for my stand. And as the father of the province, I came up with that stand. And so here we are, no? Because when China opened up in the 1980s, our port of Apari, our connection to the world, closed because of siltation, and that is why we were not part of the growth of China. And now that we are now dredging our river to reopen our port and reopen our connection to our neighbors up north, we're closest to China. Our port of Apari is the mirror port of practically all ports of China, Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. And that is why we see a lot of potential, especially China, no, and Cagayan being an agricultural, and of course the fishery because we of the and of course all of these things, no, and we could not even bring our food products to Metro Manila, no, because we could not compete except our grains. We have always been, no, traditionally a grain, no, exporter to Manila. That's just it. That's why we're trying to get markets for our food products. And we see China with 1.4 billion people. And so we started talking with them. We started talking about reopening our port again, dredging our river to mitigate our flooding and reopening the port. And of course, an international airport, because we do not have one in Cagayan, commercial international airport, is again in the offing also. It's in the pipeline as far as the plans of the province are concerned. And we expect tourism also. Our province and our country being a tropical country and our province being nearest to the temperate countries up north. And so these are all potentials that would come to us if and when we are reconnected with them. Because traditionally and historically, we have always been connected with our neighbors through international trade. The galleon trade was already with us. No? The Nueva Segovia, one of the first four Spanish cities in the country, Nueva Segovia, now the law is in Cagayan. No, another one is Cebu, another one is Naga, Nueva Caceres, and Manila. No, kami lang yung nahuli. No, nandyan pa rin yan. So this is our time. We feel that this is our time to reconnect with them and have exchanges with them. And we feel that EDCA is inimical to our plans.
So you're saying that aside from the military drills that could scare your people and your constituents within the region, you're also taking into consideration the economic potential of your region and being open to trade with China. That's why you don't want the EDCA sites in your region. Is that correct?
We're not afraid of the drills. We're afraid of the possible consequences of a foreign force in our shores. This was the magnet of World War II here in our country.
Sir,
if you after Japanese, just for historical lang, no? The Japanese first invaded Pearl Harbor because the Americans were there. And 10 hours after Japan invaded Pearl Harbor, they invaded the Philippines because of Subic and Davao Base. Look at that. Basically because the Americans were here.
If you look at the map of Cagayan, if you look at the
same thing with
yes, you're on the tip of the Philippines. You're at the very top, very north of the Philippines.
Right.
At the tip,
yes.
Yes, just a stone's throw away to Taiwan. So that's very near to Taiwan. So sir, let me ask you, what else? Ano pa po yung mga agam-agam ninyo? What are your worries against the establishment of an EDCA site in your region, aside from the economic potential that could be hampered? Aside from that, sir, what else are you worried about?
We will be the target of attack because the stockpiles are here, the foreign forces are here, the drones will be coming from here, the missiles will be coming from here. So what would happen to us? We're so poor. We're so poor. No? And we see a very good economic opportunity with our neighbors now. You know, China achieved in 40 years what America and Europe achieved in 200 years. It's a miracle. Having a growth of 10 or 11% of GDP for 30 consecutive years. Now, they need us to because their food is important. And this is what we see as if we could make a dent in the food chain and the food supply to China, that's good enough for us. Wala ho kami nagbebenta sa Manila. Mga rice and corn lang. Kaya ngayon, napakahirap pa rin namin. And maybe it's all our fault because nag-close yung Port of Apari namin. We never did anything about dredging of that silted river that we have now. Ito po yung pagkakataon namin. No? If they don't see this, we want this presented to the world and to our Philippine government and to those who are trying to decide. No? I hope, EZRAH, I am wrong in my calculations. I hope and pray that I am wrong and that they are right. Because if I am right and they are wrong, I do not know how we could ever recover with the damages. We see what war is. Sa generation natin, pinabaliwala natin yan because we have not experienced it yet. But you see Ukraine, you see Afghanistan, you see Iraq, you see these places. I do not want this to happen in my province because we can never recover from it. We are not prepared for any kind of war here. We don't have bunkers here. We don't have missiles here. They could bring all the armed forces of the Philippines in our shores in Cagayan. I will not have any qualms, but not any foreign troop in Cagayan because that will invite trouble for us, just like what had happened in World War II.
Like you said, sir, your province is not ready for any kind of war and you do not want to invite trouble within your region. But sir, have you thought about having an EDCA site in your region could also serve as protection? So you're one of the regions that would be protected from
We are not threatened from anyone. We are not threatened from anyone. Not the Chinese, not the Japanese, not the Koreans. We don't see any threat at all. The threat are the NPAs. They have been a threat for 52 years. And even our armed forces and our government could not solve that. How could we go to war? No, wala akong threat sa amin dito. We do not feel anything na nagte-threaten sa amin. Who could be interested sa amin? We do not have oil here. We are poor here. We just want to work. We just want to supply some of our food produced to our neighbors. That's it. Huwag na nila kami disturbohin dahil mahirap na po kami. Pahihirapan niyo pa kami. And who are these who will decide? Who are these? This is not just a military thing. Yung militar nga, ewan ko kung capable sila. Baka mamaya pag nagkabombahan, yung kanilang headquarters walang tao. Because they do not also have bunkers. I do not know. No? Because I've talked to a lot of them. No, even chief of armed forces of the Philippines, no? Former chief of armed forces of the Philippines, former chief of the PNP, and generals and that. They call me up, sabi nila, Manny, tama ka. Wala tayong preparasyon sa ganyan. Makipagkaibigan tayo, yun ang alam natin. And I see a lot of people, no? Ay, hindi nila nakikita. Tayo kasi hindi natin alam yung giyera eh. Sana magtanong tayo sa ating mga ninuno na buhay pa o sa ating mga lolo para alam natin kung ano ang hirap ng giyera. Ayaw po namin yun, please. Huwag nyo na kaming disturbohin dito. Kahit wala ko kayo ibigay sa amin na ano, huwag nyo lang kami pong, kami yung maibabala po dito. We will become the frontliners in this war. Sabi ko nga, I pray to God that I am wrong in my assumption. I am wrong in my fears. Because at this point in time, wala ho kaming nakikita ni isang fear except yung mga internal problems natin and the poverty that we're into.
Sir, given your position, being against the establishment of EDCA site in your region, if the government, since he hasn't announced the official locations of these EDCA sites, if the government called for Cagayan to be one of the EDCA sites, would you comply, yes or no?
It's not for me to implement. What would I do? What would I do? I'll tell you, hindi ako aalis sa decision ko ito. Patayin mo man ako. Dahil this is really, no, I fear a lot for my people. I fear a lot for Cagayan. I fear for my children. Because kami, matanda na kami. I'm 65 years old. About to retire. I've been 37 years in politics. No? Kahit pa paano, na-survive namin yung napakaduming politika dito. Na-survive namin ang insurgency. Na-survive namin ang dalawang super typhoon at lahat. No? Good enough for sa akin. Paano pa yung mga anak namin? Buti sa kanila, may mga bahay-bahay sila sa iba-ibang mga lugar. Paano po kami? Buti pa yung militar, hindi naman sila tiga rito. Pero I hope they see what we see. Dahil akala mo kung sino silang mag-a-advise ng kung ano-ano dyan. Huwag naman ganito. You know, I've been supportive to the President's call. I was part of the Aquino administration that decided on a multilateral approach on this problem. No, we were part. We voted on it. But it was not acceptable by the Chinese, no? By the Chinese government. They first offered a bilateral talk. Now that the president had agreed for a continuous dialogue about the maritime dispute, I was so happy because the president and President Xi Jinping found a new middle ground. And I thought all the while that this will be pursued. No, kaya very happy ako. Kaya sabi ko, no EDCA sites dito, please, no. No live fire because I know this could be resolved. Iba na ito eh. Makikigiyera na tayo. Hindi naman kami kasama dyan sa giyera ng, pakialam namin sa giyera ng Taiwan o kanino man yan. Wala namang nagdidisturbo sa akin ngayon dito. In fact, they want to have good relationship with us. They want to have exchanges with us. That's why they are also so much interested also of developing our port. Now they are dredging our river. They are the ones helping out in our dredging of the river. Dahil sila po ay kumukuha, bumibili ng dredge material from here. Kaya nalilibre namin yung dredging namin para mabuksan namin yung puerto, maibsan namin ang aming flooding dito. And now here comes EDCA na hindi man lang kami nakonsulta, hindi kami lang nakasabihan. Ibang nila sabihin, sasabihin nila, nandito na sila. That's so unfair. It's not their lives. It's not their place. This is our place. We will die here. No? Dapat naman, now, porque nakausap nila ako, sabihin nila, I drop my God, para silang hindi lalaking kausap. Alam nila yung pinag-usapan namin. What can I do? Sabi ko, that's the president's call, but I will continue opposing the same. And I will go on doing this po. Hindi po sa amin. Sana maintindihan nila yung hirap na namin dito. Na-cut off na nga kami sa buong mundo when na-silted na yung river namin. Nung pinabayaan nila yung puerto namin na maging ganyan, na magsara. And you imagine, that is the major seaport in Cagayan, in Northern Luzon. Wala nang much bigger na seaport dyan kung tutuusin. Pinabayaan lang na mag-close. Now, may ginagawa kami on our local initiative na mawala yan at mabigyan ng solusyon. Dahil ito pa gagawin sa amin. That's so unfair. I started this during the Duterte administration. And I hope and pray na magtuloy-tuloy naman po ito, no? Without disturbing. Ang ganda lang relationship namin with our neighbors. No? Kaya yung bullying po, parte ng buhay yan. Every day there is bullying between you and your wife, between you and brother and sister. Bullying po every day yan. But you don't kill each other. You talk with each other, just like what President Xi Jinping and President Bongbong did. No? Magkaroon ng continuous dialogue on maritime dispute. I think that's how it should go. Yung mga Amerikano na yan, kung talagang minahal nila tayo, mayaman na sana tayo ngayon. Diba? Binigyan tayo ng kasarinlan, may kasama pang parehas tayo ng bayaan mo na yung mga Amerikano na yan, napakalayo nila sa atin.
Sir, there is a constitutional mandate that the Philippines renounces war as an instrument of national policy. So, katulad po ng sinabi niyo. So, ano naman po yung mensahe nyo sa national government regarding this issue? And your message?
We have a defense pact in the United States of America. We did our part. Nung binomba sila ni Bin Laden at sabi nila, they came up with the war. Wala hong country terrorism ang pangalan. Walang Republic of Terrorism. Pero sabi nila, war on terrorism. Diba? Kalaban natin sila Abu Sayyaf, kalaban natin sila Bin Laden, kalaban natin ang Al-Qaeda. We declared war. Dahil inatake nila yung Amerika. Diba? Dahil meron tayo Mutual Defense Act. Diba? Kung atikehin nila tayo ng mga Chinese, o di syempre, tutulungan naman nila tayo. Pero hindi po tayo inaatake. Natural lang yan. Alam mo yung katabi ko minsan, nagsisikuhan. Diba? Kahit mga neighbors lang, natural po lang yan. Kaya lang, hindi po tayo makikipag-guerra dahil dyan sa maritime dispute na yan or boundary dispute. Kaya nga, nag-uusap yung dalawang presidente natin. And we never felt that. We never had problems like that. No? Ang nagpo-poaching po dito sa amin, mga Taiwanese and Vietnamese. Sa waters namin dito. Seldom do we have Chinese at nagpo-poach dito sa amin. Walang problema ko yun sa amin kasi hindi dapat siya pinag-aawayan. Hindi mo nga siya magwardyahan. Hindi pasensya ka. Natural. Papasok-pasok sila. Susubok-subok sila. No? Para sa for me, let's just keep the peace. No? Hindi ho tayo sasalakayin ng mga yan. They should have done that a long time ago.
Cagayan Governor Manuel Mamba, maraming salamat po.
Ay, salamat, Ezra. Thank you so much for giving me time. And again, God bless po sa inyo.